welcome to the Cosmic Connection. I'm your host, the Cosmic Connector, Cosmo. Let's see if we can't wrap up 2013. As I stated on the last program, oh, by the way, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and watching the programs. Very surprising, the hits are starting to come in, and you YouTube viewers out there, I'd like to thank you so much for passing our word around, and a couple of you have actually sent in an email or two to the Cosmic Connection, and our new email address is ufoshow@outlook.com. I'd like to let you know where we get the information the Cosmic Connection disseminates to you folks out there. We get it from various sources: earthfiles.com, the National UFO Reporting Center headed by Peter Davenport, also George A. Filer from Filer's Files. George A. Filer III, he's the New Jersey State Director for MUFON, Eastern Regional Director. His website is www.nationalufocenter.com. A great publication. If you want to subscribe to his email, you get one about every Thursday of the week of the year. Once a week for 52 weeks. You're going to get information from reports around the world with links to good quality websites, some not so good, as well as videos, some not so good. The Filer Research Institute feels the scientific study of UFOs is for the benefit of humankind and is an important endeavor. The weekly intelligence report provides you with information on the latest sightings and UFO news that you need to understand the world's situation. I concur. Cosmic Connection has used George Filer's information many times, has supplied information to the Filer Files many times, and George Filer has been to Washington with the Greer disclosure campaign and testified in front of Congress, and anybody who will listen of his epic story. He was a capsule commander at Malmstrom Air Force Base when intruders came and shut down the missile silos. He's also had his own sightings flying airplanes. So George Filer knows what he's talking about. As for the Cosmic Connection, well, sometimes we know what we're talking about. We've got a UFO video, UFO near Mexico City, caught on video. This was January 12, 2014. Bringing it in, folks, bringing it in. On the last program, I told you about a massive flap across California, from Placerville all the way down to San Diego, California, Los Angeles, etc. Videotaped events of objects in the air. A man south of Mexico City has captured a UFO on 3 separate videos in one day. We're looking at them now. 2 of the videos are during the day and 1 is at night, although it is unknown whether they are all the same object. Jesus Carrera posted the videos on January 12, 2014. He says he caught them earlier in the day. The first 2 videos show an object floating around the sky during the day. The object appears to be shiny and elliptical. It moves slowly but unsteadily, as if it may be floating in the wind. The object is not shaped like a typical balloon, although its movements are also not outside of what a floating balloon is capable of. The last video is titled Light Orange and shows a light in the night sky. It shifts from being clear to hazy, indicative of clouds moving in front of the object. The object also does not appear to move. In the description of the first video, Korea writes, object videotaped on Sunday, January 12, 2014, south of Mexico City at 3:14 p.m. A camcorder model was used. There are 3 different shots. As from the nighttime video, he writes, light taken from my backyard, a uniform, all uniform, I suppose it means, it's translated, until it stopped and disappeared. Appreciation movement, I have no idea what that means. Both comments were translated from Spanish using Google Translate. So far, the videos have been picked up by UFO Sightings Daily and K-pop stars. Not bad video. Now we have some photographs taken. We have one, UFOs, Tokyo, Japan, were sighted December 25th, Christmas 2013. For 40 minutes, 5 UFOs hovered overhead on Christmas Day at 4 p.m. A news reporter heard about the UFOs and ran out to his balcony to record them himself. The UFOs all tilt up at about 25 degrees. The positioning of the UFOs tells us they are piloted by intelligent beings, perhaps even coming from a cloaked exit in the volcano Mount Fuji. This photograph was taken in Tokyo, Japan. And we have another photograph taken over Yalapa, Guatemala. I'll go with that, on December 30th, 2013. Guatemala disc, Yalapa. Says, my friend Jose posted this picture in Facebook on December 30th, 2013 of a disc-shaped object. This is a very good picture of a disc-shaped object. I'll have to give you that. Stare at it intently and tell us what you think. Oh, by the way, tell us what you think. Brand new UFO email address to the Cosmic Connection, UFOshow@outlook.com. Keep those emails coming in. Tell your friends. Tell your families. Share this with a lot of people out there. That Cosmic Connection is doing programs again as live as possible. And we'll get the shows up there on YouTube.com. That's TVUFO is the keyword on YouTube. All right, let's cover the crop circle in California. Linda Moulton Howell on Earth Files has revealed that the claimed hoaxed from the president or spokesperson of NVIDIA PR department. This is a computer processing type business that makes chips. And Linda Moulton Howell on EarthFiles.com has revealed that the NVIDIA PR department stated it took 2 weeks for the makers to construct the crop circle. The majority of crop circles appear overnight, as I said on the last program. They happen in seconds. We know this as the skies are flown daily, as we all know. To be cautious, I would personally say, this is Linda Moulton Howell's words, to be cautious, I would personally say that this is probably not an unreasonable estimation of the sort of time frame required to do this crop circle accurately in daylight. If it was a nighttime event, then we are talking a whole different ballgame. However, if this is true, it becomes evident that such an extended time period is indeed required for human beings to make a crop circle of this size. So in consequence, it would not be possible for them to have made the majority of crop circles worldwide. This is just common sense. Now, Linda is going to go in on just exactly what her hypothesis of the event of this crop circle. It has been torn down. That was made. It was claimed to be a publicity stunt. And we're going to get into some of her thought patterns right now. Number 2, 2 weeks is a long time not to be noticed by an awful lot of people. No such activity was reported locally during this time, let alone 20, 30 people milling around the field, some of which were up telegraph poles, according to one guy. Such numbers would be counterproductive anyway, and an event such as this would normally stand out wildly in any small town such as this. If indeed any number of people were actually to be involved in such a practical task as this over a 2-week period, there would be a resultant well-known access path in and out of the crop circle area unless they lived in a tent and had abundant supplies and a good portaloo. In the crop circle for 2 weeks, there were no such paths evident on the first aerial shots. Linda's conclusion based on facts available and not just lamely believing the story. They go on as the dialogue surrounding Nevada is both part of a disinformation, John Le Carre type, just an amusing thought, exercise, and also a commercial company jumping on an opportunity to promote a new product. An example, if indeed such a product exists. I'm not in the know, so can't say confidently. It would seem the people concerned are just making things up as they go along. The video proves nothing at all. It should be obvious that even the most gullible in our minds, most people now realize most of the above and the ones that hang on to the storyline are beginning to stand out, and one would naturally question their motives for doing so. Common sense is common sense. To supplement the above, I would draw your attention to this article. It really does this whole business in perspective. And the article, this is written by Paul Jacobs. This article you can go see is www.cropcircleconnector.com/NASAZI/fringe 2013 small s.html. All right, now some news and information from the National UFO Reporting Center.org, Peter Davenport's great website. I encourage you to make your UFO sighting reports to the National UFO Reporting Center.org. If they're a week or less old, anything after that, fill out the forms on the site www.nuforc.org. Any current sightings, you see it right then. Make the phone call to Peter Davenport's office. They'll take the report. That helps if other people saw the same thing that you did. Now, some information and some news off of the National UFO Reporting Center.org. Appearance of a red-orange fireballs continues. At the risk of being repetitive, we call to the attention to visitors to our website the apparent continuation of the fireball phenomenon. For anyone interested in the phenomenon, we encourage them to read the reports from the evenings of November 20th, November 28th, and November 29th of 2013. Here are some examples of the dramatic sightings of fireballs throughout the United States. A place called Berlin Corners, Vermont, Wednesday, November 20th, 2013, at 1645 hours Eastern Standard Time. An adult male witnesses a large cluster of orange fireballs in the evening sky. The full report's there. Bridgewater, Massachusetts, Wednesday, November 20th, 2013, at 1800 hours Eastern Standard Time. An adult male and female witness a cluster of 6 red lights maneuvering in the nighttime sky. Check for full report there. Hopkins, Minnesota, Thursday, November 28th, 2013, at 1945 hours Central Standard Time. A family returning from Thanksgiving dinner witnesses 20 to 30 bright red dots of light in the southwestern sky. Check the full report. Orange Park, Florida, Friday, November 29th, 2013, at 1830 hours Eastern Standard Time. A husband, wife, and 2 children reportedly witnessed the sky suddenly darken before they witnessed a cluster of orange orbs pass overhead. Urbana, Frederick, Maryland, Friday, November 29th, 2013, at 1850 hours Eastern Standard Time. A husband, wife, and daughter witnessed several clusters of orange lights near their home. Let's go back to that one. Returning from Thanksgiving, here we are. Orange Park, Florida. A husband, wife, and 2 children reportedly witnessed the sky suddenly darken before they witnessed a cluster of orange orbs pass overhead. Well, I myself, Cosmo, of the Cosmic Connection, your host here on the Cosmic Connection, witnessed something in reverse of that. Very freaky out at Area 51. Friends of mine and I were standing there waiting for the events to happen at Area 51. This is in 1990, one of my many trips out there before you folks out there ever heard of this place. We were going out there watching the events happen, and we were just standing around, and we were in a semicircle, I guess, and we got to looking up at the sky, like that's what you do out there. And then all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, there was this, I call it the photograph from space. The entire valley just lit up like a Kodak flashbulb went off. You know, them square things on the old cameras for you folks out there. Remember those? Remember that square flashbulb that went around 4 times? Okay, well, this flash went from the sky. It was like it took a picture of us from space. I saw out of my peripheral vision the shadows of the plants and the weeds and the sagebrush and the cactus on the ground. I mean, this thing was bright, lit, and it was on. And it just, one photograph freaked us all out. And we still stayed, and I can't remember if we saw events that night, but that was the event. Definitely rings true in my mind of the photograph from space. All right, let's go on to some other information here. We've got some sightings from Ponca, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Sunday, December 1st, 2013 at 19:37 hours Central Standard Time. A young woman driving in fog from Ponca, Oklahoma to Oklahoma City on Interstate 35 with her 4-year-old son witnesses a brilliantly bright, orange, round, glowing light in the fog. She passes it only to see approximately 10 more similar-looking objects hovering above and alongside the interstate. Other cars passed her vehicle, either apparently oblivious to the objects or perhaps attempting to get away from them. We post an artist's rendition of what the objects may have looked like below based on the witness's description. Artwork courtesy of Art Saranen. We now have a UFO sighting from Simi Valley, California, my neck of the woods, Los Angeles County. My grandfather had a place in Simi Valley, California. We always used to drive by the Spawn Ranch. And for those of you out there that know what Spawn Ranch is, we weren't allowed to go there because Dad saw the hippies living there. Simi Valley, California, Thursday, December 5th, 2013 at 800 hours Pacific Standard Time. Adult male reports having witnessed an unidentified circular object approach a flock of geese in the morning sky. The presence of the object near the birds reportedly caused them to break their V formation and scatter in all directions. The birds reportedly seemed to fly in an erratic manner, seemingly trying to return to formation, but unsuccessfully. Suddenly, the round object and the birds reportedly appeared to suddenly just disappear from the witness's view. Wow, that's messing with the bird's inner brain navigation facilities, their GPS system. I've never heard of that. But Dennis on the Cosmic Connection, my co-host for 10 years, always used to equate UFO sightings with flocks of geese. So now we have flocks of geese and a UFO together in one story. I love it. Let's read it again. An adult male reports having witnessed an unidentified circular object approach a flock of geese in the morning sky. The presence of the object near the birds reportedly caused them to break their V formation and scatter in all directions. The birds reportedly seemed to fly in an erratic manner, seemingly trying to return to formation, but unsuccessfully. Suddenly, the round object and the birds reportedly appeared to suddenly just disappear from the witness's view. A late-breaking case which arrived just as we were updating the National UFO Reporting Center website. The report does not appear in our database of sighting reports. It's from Florida, Davenport, Florida. Hey, Peter. It's from Davenport, Florida. I know where that is. And it's from the Peter Davenport Reporting Center, National UFO Reporting Center out of Washington. And we've got a sighting from Davenport, Florida, if I could say it again. Large orange light came into view from the north, heading south just over the roof line of our backyard's neighbor. Light stopped directly east of where we were standing in our backyard. Our backyard faces east and appeared stationary for several seconds, perhaps a minute. Before it started moving east or started to dim, we were unable to tell if it was moving out of view or dimming until it became a tiny red dot and then disappeared. We got video with this. This is from www.emerance247.com. UFO sighted over Saudi Thursday night, 1/17/14, January 17th, 2014, with video. A Saudi newspaper on Friday published a film showing what it described as an unidentified flying object, UFO, passing above the western town of Medina Sada. Arabic language Daily said the film was captured by a Saudi man who happened to be near the Prophet's Mosque around 9 p.m. local time, 10 p.m. United Arab Emirates time. I was passing just near the mosque when I saw the object. I captured a film of it, but I could not trace it as it split into 2 or 3 parts. And that's by an individual by the name of FAHD space AL space HARBI, and he told the paper. Saudi woman claims UFO capture over coast. Experts dismissed claims saying it could be of an aircraft. A Saudi woman taking shots of the sea at sunset on the western coast of the Gulf Kingdom said she captured a strange object flying at high speed. Mahai al-Atiba told SABQ newspaper that the object could be a meteor or a UFO, but experts dismissed the claim, saying it could be of an aircraft. After checking the picture, I found that it is for a plane whose engine smoke was reflected by the sun. It is a known phenomenon, said Abdullah al-Miznad, a geography professor at Al-Qizm University. This story reminds me of a report that Dennis, he created the Aliens Over Oregon for the Cosmic Connection and for himself, and we used to pass them out to people who, at the time, there was no internet. They wrote in with letters and put in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and we'd send them back the Aliens Over Oregon. What Aliens Over Oregon was Dennis's great work of going to the library, finding microfilm, and going through the microfilm archives of any library, whether he be in China or Seattle, Washington, and there he went back to 1947 and would find UFO reports before and after July 4th, 1947. That's our drop-dead date. That's my drop-dead date for the crash at Roswell. I say it was July 4th, 1947, about 11:35 p.m. at night. Others will disagree. Anyway, so in one of these reports, a lady had called an Air Force or a police station, I can't remember which, and describing a UFO sighting, and this is 1947. All around June, July, and in the Pacific Northwest, this is when the Kenneth Arnold information, she probably saw the Kenneth Arnold and was reporting it, I can't remember, but it was around that time, June 26, 1947, thereabouts. When she got done finishing the report, the gentleman on the other phone said, "Is there another witness there? Preferably a man." This is what this story reminds me of. The United Arab Immigrants and Saudi and those idiots over there. Women are less than dogs, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm glad that they put this in here, but as you can catch from the tone of the report here, they don't take kindly to women over there in those undeveloped countries, more undeveloped than what they think. Anyway, enough of the social commentary. So that's an interesting story out of Saudi. Unidentified aerial phenomenon sightings were reported over Arizona, Alaska, California, Colorado, Illinois, Kentucky, Maine, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. And this is all around the date of the beginning of the year, January 2014. Also, sightings at the same time, sightings of UFOs around the world were also reported in Australia, Canada, China, Germany, Japan, Mexico, Republic of Ireland, South Korea, and England in the United Kingdom. Special reports, golden sphere, 2 meters from space station. Scott C. Waring states, "I was taking a look at the International Space Station on January 7th, 2014, when I began to listen to some of their conversation to see what they were talking about." Folks, you can watch live coverage out of this ISS on your computer somewhere. He states, "As I was listening, I saw this golden orb about a meter or less hovering about 2 meters from the walls of the space station. As I watched, the solar panels behind it were moving, and we could clearly see the orb was between the camera and the solar panels. As the solar panels moved away from the orb, meaning the orb now had a blue background, so it stood out more, suddenly NASA cut to a blue screen, but I did notice just 5 seconds before they cut to blue screen that the camera was to pan out, making the orb seem to move further away. Did they see the orb and cut the video? Hell yeah. ISS followed by UFO Cross, NASA live cam on January 10th, 2014. Witness states, "I spotted a gold UFO again." that is likely the same one I reported on yesterday. It has just changed its shape a bit. It is probably following and monitoring the space station for a few days. Observed the ISS cam for over 2 years now and have never in that time seen this anomaly. When the sun is at a certain angle to the darkness, it becomes revealed for about 8 to 10 minutes. Keep an eye on the camera and you may catch it again. SCW, thanks to UFOsightingsdaily.com. And then our next story is going to be Lieutenant Colonel Philip Corso saw an alien. Can't wait to get into that. This is Cosmo for the Cosmic Connection, doing another one of my semi-live shows for YouTube, Cosmic Connections on YouTube. Want to thank you folks for watching the first one we did. Going to try and do them regular now. I did a show live every 2 weeks for 10, 15 years. Reno, Nevada, Portland, Oregon. We're doing some shows here. If you want to contact the Cosmic Connection, the only way we can do that now is by email. You can't call me because I don't have a phone number, and love to hear from you folks. That was a blast for 10 years. My phone number, internet phone number, is ufoshow@outlook.com. Send me an email. Tell me about the old times you used to watch Cosmo on the air and get in trouble for it if somebody else wanted to watch something else. I've heard that story a lot. There's also a football game on right now, so I'm going to go watch Denver and New England Patriots battle it out. Stay tuned. All right, for our next report. Lieutenant Colonel Philip Corso saw an alien. Anybody that read the book The Day After Roswell knows that he saw an alien in Kansas when he opened up the box. Dawn of a New Age, the original notes of U.S. Army Colonel Philip J. Corso are available at openminds.tv. We can now get to the core of the classified activities and research on the Roswell files examined by Corso at the Pentagon between 1961 and 1963. Philip J. Corso Sr. died in July 1998 at the age of 83. 13 years after his death, we will finally get to see his manuscript, which has never been released in the U.S. The only foreign edition was published in Italy by Pendragon in 2003. People interested in UFOs will be compelled to read this book because too much of the information in the bestseller, The Day After Roswell, does not stand up to what Corso really wrote in his diary. Philip Corso Jr., a man devoted to fulfill his father's legacy, described the manuscript in his lecture at the 2007 IUFOC in Laughlin, Nevada, Dawn of a New Age. I had no intentions to put out this book. This one here is all in my dad's original notes without Hollywood involved and is what the people really wanted. They don't want it edited, but it reads like a textbook. In other words, it's a manual and much more believable. William J. Burns had helped write The Day After Roswell, and Dad did not proofread it. When Dad went through The Day After Roswell, that was a yellow lining, everything that he didn't say and didn't like. He got halfway through it and quit because it was impossible. He had almost every page blacked out. My dad was really very upset about the book. Executing General Arthur Trudeau's orders at the Pentagon, Corso handled technical data and some mysterious components derived from the alien craft that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in early July 1947. Corso had also seen medical reports of the autopsies performed on the bodies retrieved at the incident site. According to Corso, they determined that the craft was a biological spaceship functioning in conjunction with a crew of EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities. They were biological robots created through advanced genetic engineering, clones designed to withstand the extreme conditions of space travel. These EBEs were able to drive their starship through a particular neural interface whereby they could connect with the craft, become an almost integrated part of it. Corso says he was responsible for handling parcels of alien technology to several industrial contractors connected to the U.S. military. Their development would lead to discoveries such as night vision devices, laser, fiber optics, transistors, and more. Would such a highly decorated military figure lie so blatantly? This is hardly believable, especially considering the affidavit signed by Corso, arranged by Citizens Against UFO Secrecy cause. A few weeks before his death, unfortunately, we do not have a corroborative statement by anybody who knew what Corso was really doing in the early 60s when he was head of the Foreign Technology Research and Development Department for the Army at the Pentagon. Corso claims back engineering of the alien spaceships resulted in these advances. Corso claimed image intensifiers, fiber optics, lasers, integrated circuits, irradiated food, anti-missile technology, and numerous other advancements were the result of back engineering the craft. On June 8, 1998, CAUS issued this press release. Attorney Peter A. Gersten, Executive Director of Citizens Against UFO Secrecy Incorporated, CAUS, announced that retired Army Colonel Philip J. Corso has provided CAUS with the sworn affidavit that he saw alien bodies in July 1947 and had the opportunity to read their autopsy reports in 1961. This is the text of the Corso affidavit. Lieutenant Colonel Philip J. Corso, retired, do hereby swear under the penalties of perjury that the following statements are true, that at all times hereinafter mentioned I was a member and officer of the defendant, that during my tenure with the defendant I was a member of the President Eisenhower's National Security Council and former head of Foreign Technology Desk at Defendant's Research and Development Department. That on or about July 6, 1947, while stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, I personally observed a 4-foot non-human creature with bizarre-looking four-fingered hands, thin legs and feet, and an oversized incandescent light bulb-shaped head. The eye sockets were oversized and almond-shaped and pointed down to its tiny nose. The creature's skull was overgrown to the point where all its facial features were arranged frontally, occupying only a small circle on the lower part of the head. There were no eyebrows or any indications of facial hair. The creature had only a tiny flat slit for a mouth, and it was completely closed, resembling more of a crease or indentation between the nose and the bottom of the chinless skull than a fully functioning orifice. That in 1961 I came into possession of what I refer to as the ROSWELL file. This file contained field reports, medical autopsy reports, and technological debris from the crash and extraterrestrial vehicle in Roswell, New Mexico, 1947. That I have personally read the medical autopsy reports which refer to the autopsy of the previously described creature that I saw in 1947 at Fort Riley, Kansas. That said, autopsy reports indicated the autopsy was performed at Walter Reed Hospital, which was under the authority of the defendant at the time of the autopsy. That said, autopsy report referred to the creature as an extraterrestrial biological entity. Signed, Colonel Philip J. Corso, retired, sworn before me this day of May 1998. The manuscript of Dawn of a New Age is of essential importance in order to better know Philip James Corso and fully appreciate his fundamental contribution to the cause of truth, not only for the Roswell incident, but for many very factual events narrated in his notes as he lived them. These are actual facts that do not appear in the over-glamorized The Day After Roswell. Note, I took the book The Day After Roswell and showed it to General Goodpaster, who was Eisenhower's chief of staff, who knew Corso. He laughed after perusing the book and thought it read like fairy tales and did not take it seriously. Alright, now here's the one that's got my head scratching. News from Rachel, Nevada. Area 51 news, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to like this one, so sit down. This is going to be tough to take. I-Team, residents in small Nevada town on edge. This is by the chief investigative reporter, George Knapp of KLAS Television Channel 8, who brought you UFO, the best evidence. Rachel, Nevada, residents of Rachel, Nevada, the tiny town that became world famous because it sits on the doorstep of the Area 51 military base, are on edge. Someone has been buying up property under their noses, and when they checked to find out who was behind it, they found ties to the white supremacy movement. You have to be tough to live in a place like Rachel. It's not exactly known for its amenities. So when the only gas station in town gets gobbled up, then shut down, and when the only trailer park gets purchased, then wiped out, it's bound to attract attention. And when residents learn that the people who have been buying their town have ties to neo-Nazi and white supremacists, they were creeped out and anxious. Rachel, Nevada is the #1 attraction on the world's only extraterrestrial highway. That said, there's not a whole lot to it. The heart and soul of the town is the little alien, which has capitalized on its proximity to the world's most famous classified military base, Area 51. For 25 years, the owners have scratched out an existence by catering to UFO hunters and desert travelers. By these days, they're worried, all because of a mystery man who came to town. Who is this person, and why are you keeping yourself so secret from this community? Because he didn't actually show his face to anybody, said Connie West, proprietor of the Little Alien. I was in shock. I didn't want to believe, said Pat Travers, co-owner of the Little Alien. The first sign of trouble was when someone bought the town's only convenience store and gas station. It was renamed the Alien Cowpoke to attract the UFO crowd, but within a matter of weeks, the new owner closed it down, a huge loss for visitors and locals. It was the only gas station in town. Now we keep a little gas for emergency purposes for people who don't pay attention to the sign that the next store is 150 miles, Travis said. It made no sense to cut everybody off in town. It was the only way to get groceries on a daily basis if they needed a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk, West added. Next, the trailer park and RV lot, home to dozens of long-term residents, as well as the snowbirds who camped out for months each winter. The new owner shut it down and told everyone to get out. Today, it's completely empty. The pastor at the small Baptist church next door saw his congregation drop by 2/3. The numbers were dwindling because I could not look out the front door of the church and see the trailer park was completely cleaned out. The town population was going down. The actual census right now is in the neighborhood of 75, and it was closer to 300 when we got here, said Robert Keniston. Pastor Keniston and his wife live in Boulder City, which make the 350-mile road trip every Sunday in order to tend their Rachel flock. Keniston, a former news reporter, did some digging. What he found was that same man who had purchased a store in the trailer park had also scooped up several large parcels of raw land in the heart of Rachel. Property records show the owner, Richard Bunck, quickly transferred his new real estate into the name of the JHM Baptist Church. Keniston was floored when he looked it up. Their church is identified by the experts as the Christian Identity and neo-Nazi, and those two little niches are the most dangerous, I'm told, Keniston said. Watchdog groups list JHM Church as a white supremacist outfit in the same category with the KKK and racist skinheads. It's the same name Richard Bunck uses for his business as a licensed Nevada contractor. The initials JHM are believed to stand for John Hale McGee, a Southern California minister affiliated with the American Nazi Party and who preached the gospel of white supremacy. When Keniston told Rachel residents what he had uncovered, he got a visit from Bunck. And he looked at me and said, there's a story going around town that I am a neo-Nazi and a white supremacist, and I believe you are the reason for that story. And I said, I believe you are the reason for that story. And that was the end of the conversation, Keniston said. Bunck's Nazi affiliation have surfaced before. In the 1990s, he and John Hale McGee ran for public office in Southern California as candidates for a right-wing party. Candidate Bunck at first denied any connection to racist groups, but reporters dug up photos showing Bunk in the 70s at Nazi rallies wearing a Nazi-type uniform with swastikas and anti-Jewish signs. Bunk's first lie fell apart, so he tried other stories. He finally came in, gave us this BS that he was part of an FBI undercover thing. That story fell apart later. He admits later that no, I wasn't FBI, but it was a youthful indiscretion. I didn't know what I was doing, said Gary Scott, a public radio journalist. Scott didn't buy the idea that it was a passing fancy by Bunk, especially since Bunk has been arrested at least twice at pro-Nazi rallies, and today, decades later, he is still using the name of his now deceased friend and neo-Nazi mentor. When I look up the name on the side of his truck or the church he is associated with, the first thing that pops up is a link to white supremacists. What am I supposed to think, Wes said. Residents of Rachel say they have recently been interviewed by FBI agents who asked them questions about Bunk and his intentions. The I-team tried to reach Bunk, Mr. Bunk, through the contact information on his contractor's license, but have not yet received a response. The I-team will have further reports on this as new information services. And again, that's from KLAS Channel 8, George Knapp, investigated I-team reporter. Okay, here's a side stote to that Richard Bunick story, the gentleman buying up land and property in and around Rachel, Nevada, Area 51, Nevada. Locals now fear that Bunick may be buying up property to establish a white supremacist enclave in the Nevada desert. Following the accusations, residents say the FBI has visited the town to make inquiries about Bunick's intentions. Similarly, earlier in the year, white supremacist Craig Cobb drew criticism for trying to establish a white reserve in North Dakota after buying up a dozen properties. So, you know, this gentleman may have a white supremacist town that he's going to cook up there in Rachel, Nevada. So stay tuned for that, for the neo-Nazis in Area 51. Should get interesting, like a Twilight Zone episode. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned to the Cosmic Connection. All right, let's talk about animal mutilations. They've been going on for 2013. We've had a flap of animal mutilations for the year 2013. The elk, the half-cats, cows, et al. Mutilations were up in 2013. If you've been asleep and you just now woke up, it's been going on. It reminds me of I believe 1973 events that happened that year. That was a flap year for cattle mutilations. I think 2013 will go down as the same, as well as the whales beaching themselves, hundreds of dolphins dying, birds dropping out of the sky. It's just been a tough year for the animals. So we have a new reporter, a new investigator. Her name is Margie Kay. She's new to me. Looks like she's been doing great work, and let's continue. Animal Mutilation Investigation and Research Network. It's a site that was created in an effort to connect people who want answers about animal mutilations worldwide. Investigators, researchers, scientists, and the public are invited to participate. We take reports of animal mutilations and investigate them. If you have an event to report, please send it. And this is our investigator, Margie Kay, and her email address for you to send reports is margiekay06@yahoo.com, margiekay06@yahoo.com. Bio about Miss Margie Kay. Kay owns a chimney contracting company and a forensic investigation company in Kansas City, Missouri. Her husband, Gene, is a state-certified fire investigator, and Margie does research work and writes all of the investigation reports for the company. She has a BA degree in business administration and an MA in professional and technical writing. Kay has over 30 years' experience doing forensic, paranormal, and UFO investigation work, and has recently been involved in investigating a number of animal mutilations in the state of Missouri. She is the lead investigator on several cases. Kay is the publisher of X News magazine, host of X News Radio, and author of 13 books including Gateway to the Dead, A Ghost Hunter's Field Guide, Haunted Independence, and The Kansas City UFO Flap. She is currently working on Mysterious Missouri, which is scheduled to be published in early 2014. Kay is a seasoned speaker and has lectured at over 130 conferences and meetings in the United States on various topics. Margie Kay appeared in the TV plot Strange and has been a guest on numerous radio programs and networks including KMBZ, KMOX, KCMO, KMBC, Eyewitness Radio, Night Watch Radio, Show with Todd Sheets, Spiritual Discovery, Alejandro Rojas, Joe Montado, Haunted Voices, Radio Network, and more. Kay has been interviewed by all of the major TV networks, including Fox, CBS, NBC, and ABC in Kansas City, and has appeared on CNN. Margie approaches all investigations using scientific methods and equipment such as EMF meters, metal detectors, Geiger counters, night vision cameras, and video, long-range infrared monoculars connected to video cameras, still cameras, night vision, hunter cameras, and UV lights. All possible UFO or animal mutilation sites are treated as crime scenes with evidence collection and lab analysis completed where appropriate. Witness information is always kept confidential. Websites for Margie Kay are www.unxnews.com, www.margiekay.com, www.missouri.mufon.org. Margie Kay, Kansas City, 816-833-1602, Monday through Friday, 5 to 9 Central Standard Time. This is an open letter to television producers. Myself, the Cosmic Connector, have to agree completely with this. This is absolutely the truth that I've been watching for the last 10 or 15 years. I have turned down 2 major TV shows in the past 2 weeks. Why? One show was attempting to use my video footage, report, and witness for a program on cow mutilations without giving any credit for my work and having another investigator present the evidence. The second program wanted to interview 3 investigators and a witness, then have a skeptic give his side of the story. Skeptics rarely even review evidence before debunking it. I am not interested in doing any shows with skeptics or doing shows who don't want to give people credit for work that was done on my dime. As a side note, we can bring up James Oberg of NASA. Bill Nye, the science guy, has no business discussing anything related to ufology. Bill Nye is an idiot when it comes to ufology. He is uninformed, has not read the subject, and is an idiot when it comes to ufology. Stating Margie Kay, I am officially a part of the resistance which was started by Chase Klotsky and Lauren Cutts. I am making my own documentary this next spring without a skeptic present and will give proper credit to everyone involved. I encourage other UFO and paranormal investigators to join too. After hearing my refusal, the producers will no doubt move on to other investigators. One of the companies is notorious for taking information and not putting the investigator on camera, much less credits. Investigators beware. Mary Kay, Director, Quest Investigation Group, Publisher, Unx News Magazine. I have to completely agree, Miss Kay. Bravo, bravo. Somebody with credentials out slamming these idiots. History Channel, Discovery Channel, et al. When they do a show on, I'll just use, for instance, crop circles. They'll do 45 minutes, they'll do 38 minutes of crop circles, showing Linda Howell of the likes, people, Nancy Talbot, etc., Colin Andrews, showing their work, and then in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the program just debunk everything with some idiot coming on screen stating, it was made by Doug and Dave, and that'll be it, and that's the cause for all crop circles. Anyway, Cosmo here for the Cosmic Connection. Thanks for staying tuned. I'm sure I got more information to give to you. This one's running long. Again, thanks a lot for tuning into the Cosmic Connection here on YouTube. Again, send me an email if you have any information that you would like from us. If you can't find it on the internet, I have an archive that goes back to pre-internet BBS files. I've got files very, very old, older than you probably. So the UFO email for the Cosmic Connection is ufoshow@outlook.com. Cosmo, take care, be kind to one another. Tell somebody about this program. See ya.